Hey, what's up? This your boy Big Man. You already know what it is, man. So let's get right to it. Okay, so today we're going to be talking about Pooh Shiesty. Now, Pooh Shiesty was in court all day today, and a lot went down in the courthouse, man. And there was a lawyer that took to social media. He's a guy, he goes by Lawyer for Workers on Instagram. And I believe his real name is Mohammed Gagnet. And dude breaks down what actually took place in court today, man. So we're going to go over that, and we're eventually going to get to what Pooh Shiesty's sentence came out to be, because there was a lot of possibilities here, right? Pooh Shiesty was looking at a maximum of 8 years. Like, the prosecution wanted no more than 8 years, and Pooh Shiesty obviously wanted way less than 8 years so he can get back out here and get in the rap game. And he had a lot of celebrities speak on his behalf in court. I'm talking Gucci Mane. I'm talking Wallo from the Wallo and Gilly $1 Million Worth of Game show that he was on. And a lot of other people who were talking on his behalf so that way they can get him as least time as possible. And today's outcome is what we see it to be. Now, before we break down the eventual sentence of what Pooh Shiesty got, and talk about all these details, do me a favor. Make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. And man, let's get it. Okay, now that we got that out of the way, let's talk about this Pooh Shiesty situation. He was up in court today, and it looks like this thing is actually coming to an end. And with that, he has his sentencing hearing. And that's what brought him to court today, right? Now, there's a lawyer who goes on social media and comments on such cases involving rappers and celebrities, right? Now, this dude, he goes by Lawyer for Workers. He gave his commentary on what took place today at the beginning of Pooh Shiesty's sentencing hearing. So let's check that out. And man, come on back for the comment.
Big names testifying on behalf of Pooh Shiesty at his sentencing hearing today. Gucci Mane, Wallo from the $1 Million Worth of Game podcast, an executive from Atlantic Records, also an expert witness, expert in forensics, who's going to testify as to bullet trajectories. Gucci and the Atlantic Records exec and Wallo, I guess they're going to talk about meeting Pooh, the positive changes he's made in his life, and the forensic expert's going to talk about the bullet trajectories and how Pooh wasn't the shooter. We'll see how many.
Okay, so in the clip we heard right there, the lawyer, he was basically saying this. He was saying that Gucci Mane, Wallo from the $1 Million Worth of Game podcast, somebody from his record label, came out to support him, and a forensic specialist who wanted to speak on his behalf. Now, out of all those people I named, that last one is probably the most important. But let's talk about Gucci Mane. So Gucci Mane is the head of 1017, right? So Pooh Shiesty assigned to Gucci Mane, and Wallo, he's had him on the show before. He's had Pooh Shiesty on the $1 Million Worth of Game podcast, and that shows a lot that Wallo actually would show up as kind of a character witness, I'm guessing, just to talk on his behalf, man, in his case, after interviewing him. Maybe he saw something he liked about Pooh Shiesty, and he thought he could bring something to the court that lets them know that he's kind of changed, dude. Everything's different about him now, and maybe help out his case in some way. Now, for the forensic expert, they're saying that this person was going to actually provide some feedback as to why Pooh Shiesty couldn't have committed the shooting, that, the guy got shot in the rear or whatnot, man. And hopefully that worked out for him in court today, right? You would think. Now, that wasn't the only clip that this guy dropped about the situation. So let's actually listen to this same lawyer talk in an even longer video about some of the things that they're going to be looking forward to, or they were looking forward to, going into court today.
Pooh Shiesty will be in a federal court today. He's going to get sentenced. He's going to get several years. Let's explain to you exactly what's going on. So he pled guilty. He didn't do the snitch plead guilty. When you plead guilty, there's one of two ways. One, you plead guilty, you accept responsibility. They give you leniency for accepting responsibility. You can also inform. You can plead guilty, accept responsibility, and inform on other people's crimes. And then you get an even sweeter deal. He did not inform. He pled guilty to his own crimes. He accepted responsibility.
So in that clip, he basically said that Pooh Shiesty didn't tell on anybody. He cleared up an old rumor that came out several months ago. It was a big talk on Clubhouse and stuff like that. And it was, it was a rumor that was running wild. And, most people didn't believe it after everything got squashed. And, his family came out and talked. I think his dad played a big part in, letting people know that Pooh Shiesty didn't tell on anybody, and that the laws in Florida are a little different than what people in other states are used to. So it seems like the lawyer there, he cleared it up for once and for all, that Pooh Shiesty didn't tell on, snitch on anybody. You know what I'm saying? He just pled guilty to his charges, and, he made a plea deal on his behalf, and that's all it is. Now, he also went into some other things, so let's look at this part of the clip.
In the federal system, the way it works is the defendant tells the court what he did. The prosecutors then make a recommendation of what sentence should apply based on what he did. And then the judge looks at the prosecutor's recommendation as well as the federal sentencing guidelines to determine what the law says the range of sentences is, and then based on that range, the prosecutor's recommendation, any arguments the defense makes, the judge issues the sentence. What's going to happen and what is happening in Pooh's case? So the prosecutor has recommended that the judge give no more than 8 years.
Now, as you heard there, based on what that lawyer is saying, that the prosecution said, don't give Pooh Shiesty any more than 8 years based on the federal, sentencing guidelines. I guess they have it like sentencing guidelines to where, it's more concrete to where, okay, for this crime, you can get this much time and whatnot. You know what I mean? It doesn't leave much, room for wiggle room or anything like that, it sounds like. Now, to be real, this might work in Pooh Shiesty's favor based on some things that he said later in the clip where he said they're arguing about how the sentencing should be, how high the sentencing should be. But the biggest point about all that is this point that he made in the end right here.
Who's a multi-million-dollar recording star? He's not out here to rob people for $10,000, $20,000 worth of drugs, stick people up for a couple thousand. He's worth millions. That's a decent argument. It's a compelling argument. He has a very tough judge to make that argument too. Bottom line, in this case, if Pooh can get 4 years, 5 years, which would have him out in some time less than that, that would be a huge win.
So based on what he said right there, that anything within the 4 to 5 year range or something like that would be a win for Pooh Shiesty. You know what I mean? Okay, now with all that being said, it's being reported that Pooh Shiesty actually got a sentence of 5 years, 63 months to be exact. So it's looking like Pooh Shiesty might have got a win here, because let's factor in the fact that Pooh Shiesty has already been locked down for what, about a year now? So you're thinking about that. You have to incorporate that into it. Plus, you're going to have to incorporate the fact that, he already pled guilty based on what the lawyer said for the other charges that he had hanging over his head. So it looks like this 5 years that he's been sentenced to is what he's going to be looking at. And based on a lot of the things with the federal system, I think you have to do a certain percentage of it. I'm not an expert in that, but it's looking like Pooh Shiesty will be back before you know it, man, and be back rapping. But let's see if the fans will still be there for him, man. Now, what do you guys think about this? Do you think that Pooh Shiesty getting 5 years in prison, federal prison, so it's not like he's going to be at the state level, I don't think. Him getting that 5 years is, a win for Pooh Shiesty and his team? Or do you feel like Pooh Shiesty is still going to take an L because he's got to do those years, and you never know if your fans are still going to be there? But tell me what you think in the comments. Is this a win for Pooh Shiesty? And with that, this has been your boy Big Man. Do me a favor. Make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. And make sure you hit that notification bell so that way you get a notification every time I drop this hot content. And we out of here. Peace.